Crypto DLT with Mr. Connector. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell for daily content. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Connector.
Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to that represent, say, an underlying security. And so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on chain, on a blockchain, then there's much more transparency as to where it is. Right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what and where the company usually doesn't even know where its shareholder, who its shareholders are, and where the shareholders reside, where the shares reside. So tokenization has the benefit of potentially having, instead of T+1 now trade date +1 for clearance and settlement, the prospect of maybe T0 now, depending on the instrument, and we have to think about netting and all sorts of other things with respect to some instruments. But in principle, the idea of on-chain delivery versus payment and receipt versus payment, DVP, RVP on-chain, is a prospect of de-risking the markets, making them much more transparent and then sure as far as clearance and settlement, because it's always that the gap between clearance and settlement and then delivery and payment is the real introduces risk into the system.
Do you expect this is where financial services is going? Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the way the world will be, here in maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now. So I think that all of this modernization of the markets, I think, is good. And the trouble that we've seen here over the past few years is that the SEC, unlike historically, it never was necessarily at the vanguard of pushing new innovations. It was always a little bit behind the market, of course. But here recently, it's been almost standing athwart the marketplace, and as it's as all these new innovations were coming about. So that's no more. We're actually embracing it, and I believe that we need to be embracing it to keep the United States at the forefront as far as cryptocurrencies.
Welcome to the financial revolution. Welcome to the Great Awakening. It's Mr. Connector. Hope you guys are doing good today. What's going on today? It is Wednesday, the 14th of January, 2026. Let's go. What's going on in the chat? We got Silver Days already up in the chat. Good to see you, my friend, as always. Cool. We got some good news coming out from Ripple. We've got an article for you. It's going to be a massive week for Ripple, they say. Ripple executives highlights pair of key wins this week. Ripple executive spots major wins. Let me cut this down, and this off. Lots of buttons going on behind the scenes on the Connector stream. So what did Ripple just do? They just got their, regulatory milestone this week. They just secured a preliminary, not quite, almost, approval of its electronic money institution, EMI, license from Luxembourg's Commission de Surveillance du Secure Financier, CSSF. And this follows the other announcement of the EMI license and crypto asset registration by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority. Lots of rules everywhere, lots of compliance everywhere. Which coins which blockchain is going to be compliant, which ones are set up. We've got fintechs and banks that are going to use this. And of course, you have to be KYC compliant for that. But the blockchain itself, peer-to-peer, guys, from what I'm seeing, there's no laws on that. There's no compliance laws where we've got to dox ourselves with these cold wallets. Everything's, of course, still being talked about with the Clarity Bill. Lots up for discussion. The bankers, they're trying to hold on. They're trying to limit those stablecoin rewards, and it looks like we're going to have to concede the stablecoin, not rewards, but yield. And they say the stablecoin yield. The banks don't want us to have that. That means they get to keep it all. Right. And what is that actually? That's the underlying collateral. That is the yield from the treasury bills. So all these stablecoin issuers get to keep all the yield from holding the treasury, just like Tether's been doing, guys. It's the greatest business model ever, is a stablecoin issuer, because they use our money that we give them for these stablecoins, and they go out and buy treasury with them, and they keep all the yield, and we get none of it. So imagine that. We discussed 2 streams ago that China is already allowing its citizens to receive yield off of their digital yuan, and our bankers aren't having it. So what kind of world are we living in when the United States banking lobby is more restricted than China? What is going on? But it looks like they have baked into the agreement between the fintechs and the banking lobby that activities on chain, if your stablecoin is doing that, as far as putting it into market making collateral, as far as using it in code, and there's rewards that come out of that way, then it's fine. So so what I'm thinking, have the stablecoin issuers, the fintechs, just pull one over on the banks, because rewards on chain are allowed. So why couldn't you turn your stablecoin into a proof of stake model? Did they not think of that? If these stablecoins turn into like proof of stake, where there's a governance by holding a certain amount of stablecoins, you get a governance vote on the network. That's not rewards. Have they not even thought about that? Do they not know as much as we know about that? To be sure they do, but who knows? But it just feels like they just pull one over on the banks with, not allowing yield, but allowing rewards for on-chain activities, right? So, but everything's going on-chain eventually. So that's where we're at. And, if we're willing to concede that, I guess it's okay, since we're going to an on-chain world, in my opinion. All right, cool. Let's keep it going. What do we have pulled up? We've got our gainers and losers today. Let's look at this right quick. Past 24 hours, Dash is up the most. Wow, I hadn't thought about Dash in a while. They do have that privacy feature on there. Let's see. They're up 52%. Wow, Dash is $85. With $1.3 billion in volume. Wow. Is this for real? In the past 24 hours. 53% increase. And where's the volume at on here? Fully diluted volume, $1.61 billion. And $1.3 billion in the last 24 hours is the actual volume. Wow. I told you guys, privacy coins. I started preaching on privacy coins like 3-4 streams ago, and that's a lot of what we've been covering. So that is part of that Dash network. What about the other privacy coins? What do we have here today? Appreciate you guys coming in and smashing those likes when you get in. We're going over a few things today. Had a good jam out at the beginning of the stream. And whenever Ripple's new EMI license that they got from Luxembourg. And past 24 hours, we're on privacy now. Ghostware OS, another 70% on this privacy coin. There's Dash, second right there, 55%. And Dero, D-E-R-O is up 40%. These coins are running, guys. Hello, alert. You know, I hate chasing pumps, of course, guys. Don't ever feel like you're chasing. You know, you want to buy on these deep reds. Maybe we can turn this 7-day upside down and find a deep red Sentinel. That VPN, I used to hold some Sentinel, actually. That's on the Cosmos network. That's down 20%. So that Maria's down again. And that was up the other day. So, yeah, here's some privacy coins if you guys know about any of these and want to get into a deep red privacy coin over the past 7 days. Let's look at a week market cap. You might find a gem over here on the right. You got $1.8 million on this Sentinel VPN. That's a privacy VPN, decentralized VPN network, Sentinel. Big fan of that for a while. I believe I've got that staked in that Kepler wallet. Haven't checked on it in a while. Krypton's only $1.2 million. This is how you find the deep gems right here, guys. The deep reds, as GDLT would say. Find those low market caps and find a sector that's popping off, if you ask me. Look at this one, Krypton. You know, I haven't even looked into any of them, but what's up, Conflict? How you doing, buddy? Let me check back on my chat. Doing pretty good. Going over a few things, looking at privacy coins. I wouldn't mind getting in one of these deep privacy coins, the way everything's popping off. Look at Zcash, $7.3 billion market cap on Zcash, down there, ranked 17th. Lit protocol. Yeah, all kinds of privacy coins. It looks like they're not going away, guys. From what I can tell. What else do we have? We've got top made in America cryptos. We like to support America cryptos. Department of Government Efficiency is up again today. That one's up 400% on the 7-day. That is not the original Dogecoin. That's a newer one from what I know. Story IP is up again today. That's American privacy coin, Story IP. Conflict says to the moon. Let's go. Okay, we've got the sectors. What's going on with the crypto sectors? Top gainers and losers. Trading bots are losing today. Hyperbot is up, though, in that sector. And what's going the best, though? Privacy coins. There we go. I've been harping on that for a while, for a couple weeks now. 30.66. Binance build key is up. Governance tokens are up. Governance. So the Dash ecosystem is considered governance. Okay. And Internet Computer is up. I've always kind of liked Internet Computer. What is that? Definity is the business, the corporation behind that. Today's Wednesday, the 14th. Let's look at the crypto calendar of events together. Privacy X Live panel. X Live talk with Horizon Labs. Near validators come together to share practical insights from operating protocol production level infrastructure on Near. So they're having a little validator talk. USD support, users access yield on USDC directly. So what about, if the United States Bankers Association don't want us getting stablecoin yield? Well, that's just Americans. What about, we've already decided, and the other countries a lot of them have already accepted like RLUSD or USDC in their countries. And we have, it looks like we made a deal to accept their stable coins in our countries. Of course, you take a foreign stable coin to our bank, they're going to contact that. They're going to send that stable coin to UBYX, which is a stable coin company that allows banks to swap one-to-one stable coins to get back into their preferred stable coin. And then UBYX uses on-chain rails to get rid of that foreign stable coin with using neutral bridge assets. It's going to be pretty wild. But I would like to see the banks use the rails directly instead of dealing with a company called UBYX to sit in between the banks and the stablecoin rails. They should be able to swap it out themselves, you would think. But they like pre-funding. So what do they do? The banks pre-fund accounts with UBYX in order to safeguard that swap for the stablecoin. So we still have pre-funding, which is weird. But it's taken them a while, guys, to get into this space. We got an AMA with Stellar with Pancake Swap. Okay, they discuss how Stellar is bringing blockchain to the real world. That's about 10 minutes. We've got Stellar and Pancake Swap working together. Okay, privacy talk. Lots of privacy talk. Cool. Let's keep it going. And look at the connector coins. Which one of the connector coins are popping off today? I don't like the original look at that. There we go. I've got a darkener. Okay, Bitcoin's up 3.48, but overall in the connector coins, XDB, the blockchain of brands, up 19% almost. I like that XDB. That is a copy of Stellar. That is blockchain of brands. That's built for companies to hop on and quickly deploy their stable coins or their company coins, whatever you call them. Pulsera, Evernote, COREUM, Rose, Oasis Network, Axelar, all up today. There was controversy over the Axelar token. That's an interoperability, decentralized nodes interoperable between networks. And Circle purchased the team behind XLR a couple weeks ago, which has got worries in the community about Circle. They have announced that, what they're doing interoperable, they want to do it gasless. But XLR uses the token. So there's a little question in my mind about how relevant the XLR token is if Circle is using the tech going gasless. But these words they use, they're all confusing and cryptid themselves. They might just mean gasless on the base network, or whatever they're using. Layer 0 is another interoperable play. Lots of green today. That's why the thumbnail is green. Let's keep it going. Polymarket. I wanted to take a look at this. What price will Bitcoin hit in January? Just to get the sentiment, guys. 71% say that we will stay above $100,000 in January by the end of January, or at the highest point in January. And what is it now again? It is 96,800. So that gives you a good idea there. What other crypto markets are on Polymarket? If you guys didn't know, it was just this month, I believe at the beginning of the year, Americans are allowed to get into Polymarket. Be careful out there. I've heard the mobile app is a little glitchy as far as you got to get on a wait list and all that. But if anybody's out there placing some bets, let me know how it's going for you. Kind of interested. I might start looking into this stuff, There's a lot of crypto questions on there, which is, very valid to what we're doing. There's a lot of political stuff on there. Let's see what else we want to look at. Here's the XRP. What will XRP? What's up, Lizard King? All right. What price will XRP hit in January? So we've got, what's the highest one? 17%. Say $1.80. 260, 15%. And the price goes up as the more we go. 6% of votes say 280. 3% of votes say above $3. 2% of votes above 320. So this is where you make your money at here. If you want to put in on yes above like 360. Of course, I don't know why you would put in at 4 when you can put in at 360. I guess that will change in the future though. But you know, you put in by yes at 1%, that's where you make their money at right there. If you put in, of course, yes on the higher one, 17%, you will make less money. Lots to learn right there. I am interested in that. But it kind of gets a good sentiment. You know, that's Polymarket's the best polls out there in the world. You know, okay, let's look at our ETF terminal right quick, then we'll move on. Spot ETFs, we're looking at about $38 million in volume, 15.9 on the biggest one, Grayscale XRP ETF Trust. Look at that spread, 0.19. That's killer spread right there. I was looking at a Uphold yesterday just to see, you know, what are they charging. I love Uphold, but my God, they charge a good spread. If you ever look at it, make sure if you ever cash out or anything, make sure you're looking at the spread of what you're paying there. The price they gave me was about 5 cents cheaper than what it actually was. So I was like, no, thank you. But love them throughout the years. They have supported us, XRP community and others, of course. Cool. Loan protocol, $22 million worth of XRP right now being deposited, but only 1.5 being lent out. So if we can get more people borrowing XRP, that will increase our APY. And that is a natural flow right there. It's pretty straightforward. It's not confusing at all. The more people that borrow, the more they're going to need deposits and the more they'll pay for their APY. So, and it's pretty wild that you can earn 3.45% on borrowing XRP right now. So if any guys are real smart out there, and they're paying you to borrow, you can get it and then deposit it and make double the money off of it. You know, there's ways to round robin and work this system for yourself the way you want to, you know. Let's see, Flare's got $210 million still locked up. I'd just like to take a quick look at this because I will be getting into this Flare protocol eventually. You know, a lot of guys are getting into it already. Good on them. Hope everything runs smoothly. 210 million locked up in Flare. Cool. Let's take a quick look at the total crypto market cap. We are headed back up $3.25 trillion with a T. Okay, we've got to look at the dominance right quick. 60% still at Bitcoin, 59.60%. Let's see that go down. Push it down. Altcoins. We need to see real utility out there. Cool. Gold's at another all-time high. It looks like $4,628. That is real money. Silver, $91.48. Let's go. 91. That's killer. We've got to look at the CoinMarketCap feed articles that are just coming out. Leading crypto builders say Senate bill reduces risk, but devil is in stablecoin details.
Hey there, connector.
Hey, can you summarize this page in detail, please?
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. So this page is basically spotlighting a new Senate bill that's got the crypto world buzzing. The gist is that the bill is supposed to reduce risks in the crypto space, but the tricky part is all about the details around stablecoins. In other words, the real challenge is how these stablecoins are going to be regulated. The piece is written by Yellow News, and they're basically saying that while it's a step forward in giving some sort of regulatory clarity, there's still a lot of uncertainty. Here's a little highlight for you. Stablecoins emerge as a key fault lie. That's pretty much the crux of it. Stablecoins are where a lot of the tension is. So yeah, the crypto.
Why didn't they get the Genius Bill straight? It's like they're trying to edit out the Genius Bill. If all the Clarity Act is about stablecoins, why didn't they get it right with the Genius Bill? Who knows? Looks like they're trying to alter that. This is good, though. Proposal seeks to establish clear definitions for digital assets, which we still technically don't have, which is insane. This is what we've been fighting for a decade now. Clear definitions. That's one of the first things I heard of when we got into this space. We still don't have clear definitions. It looks like we're going to have 3 different types of tokens. You've got your commodities, which is like Bitcoin, XRP, all the decentralized assets. You've got security tokens, which are company tokens. And then you've got, what is the other one? What are meme coins considered? I forget the name of them. Anyway, under the draft, the CFTC will gain over the spot markets for commodities. So all your crypto exchanges would be under the CFTC. So this is all, wow, this is all part of the transfer of legacy systems to on-chain. So we've got to distinguish between centralized entities and being on-chain as far as these laws. Being on-chain, how the CFTC isn't going to have any control over what you're doing personally. It's when these entities interact with it, which is the legacy system, bringing the crypto into the legacy system. But once everything gets on-chain, how relevant are these governments going to be and these agencies, What's up, Max FOMO? There's a king because they didn't read it. Yeah. They never read the bills. They just do what their lobbyist donors tell them to vote. They just vote how they want. They're told to vote, A long-awaited attempt to redefine regulatory boundaries. Executives across crypto industry say the draft bill addresses one of the sector's most persistent challenges, uncertainty over which regulator has authority. Yeah, they're all fighting for authority, and they're not realizing that none of them are going to have authority once it's all over, said and done. It's all going to be on chain. That's the way I'm seeing this stuff. They want to kill the stablecoin rewards, but they're allowing, this is the compromise with the fintechs, they're allowing on-chain activity rewards, like governance votes and staking, things like that. So did the fintechs just pull one over on the banks? That's what I'm wondering. Did they not know that you can earn on-chain? Because all they're doing is stopping, if you're holding stable coins in a bank account, rewards, from the yield, the underlying yield. And the banks want to keep that all for themselves, of course. It's pretty wild the way this is working out. Did they not know how this stuff works on chain? And that all you need to do is change your coin to make it proof of stake, to get rewards out. Yeah, collectibles. Thank you, Lizard. I needed that. Yeah, collectibles. That's the third kind. Not just meme. Collectibles could be meme coins, tribute coins, NFTs. I mean, was it that hard to come up with definitions? My God, we've been waiting so long for that. Okay, any other articles? Technical analysis says a $12 XRP target price is now confirmed. This is from CoinMarketCap. 4 minutes ago. Market momentum builds often quietly before breaking into view. XRP appears to be entering one of those pivotal phases where structural price action, volume dynamics, and investor sentiment converge. Observers now point to a medium-term target that, until recently, many considered ambitious, but evolving market conditions suggest it may soon become attainable. In recent posts on X, crypto commenter Crypto Captain highlighted institutional investors' medium-term projection of XRP reaching $12 medium term, emphasizing that technical patterns combined with supported market fundamentals now validate this outlook. The $12 target underscores growing confidence in XRP's trajectory, signaling that the asset could soon test new levels of market interest and price discovery. It's reached critical support zones while forming higher lows, a pattern the technical analysis recognized as a foundation for sustained upward momentum. Volume trends reinforce this narrative, showing persistent accumulation across major exchanges and derivatives platforms. Guys, I don't get into much TNA. I'll read some stuff like this every now and then, but I mean, everybody looks at TNA different. You know, I'm sure short term it has some uses, but we're looking long term for these utility cryptos. Patterns suggest that it provides structural basis for a $12 medium-term target, suggesting it's clear that key obstacles for further appreciation. Further, XRP has demonstrated rapid price acceleration once it consolidates above essential support levels. These consolidation phases reset momentum indicators and prepared the asset for subsequent rallies, particularly in trading volumes alongside market interest. You've got institutional engagement, adding credibility. And guys, don't forget, this stuff's been running for 10 years plus. Flawless. And what's running flawless? Well, not SIA coin. Not SIA coin. What happened to SIA coin? Did I not? Let me refresh this. Cointelegraph just in, not SIA, SUI, S-U-I. My bad. SUI reports a mainnet outage with the network currently at a standstill as the core team investigates. Wow. Let's see what they're saying in the chat here with that. And also my chat. Lizard says the bankers positioning for relevance don't realize lawyers just screwed them. That's why they will fight in the streets. Yeah. Yep. They don't realize that their fight for relevance, their lawyers just screwed them. Yeah, these lawyers, you know, they come at this stuff from a lawfare. You know, we come at it from a different angle entirely. So that we see things completely different than they do, guys. That doesn't mean they're smarter than us just because they have a law degree. That means they had money and time to go to college and get that degree. I mean, good on them for doing it. But from what I can tell, they're still esquires of the royal family. That's what the Bar Association is. But good thing Texas just allowed a competitor to the Bar Association, a new school that is accepted to become a lawyer in Texas. First time I've heard of that, right? So the bar doesn't have a monopoly power on our legal system like they have been. That's huge, and that just flipped right under the radar. We need every state doing that, right? Max says the Clarity Act is a Trojan horse, and banks will find themselves worse off. That's kind of the way I feel. I kind of feel like they don't, you know, they've been fighting it this long and they still don't know what they're fighting against. You know, banks don't innovate. They just use lawfare, legal fare, you know, and cost benefit analysis. That's all they do. Max says, I've been researching GBEX, Globiance. Yeah, I've got some old Globiance, but yeah, I kind of gave up on that project. GBX. They've had some problems with regulations like the rest of the space, but are coming out of. Oh, good. I still got that old GBEX, I think version 2. I did upgrade it to the new wallet, but it crashed and kind of gave up on that. I'm in a lot of projects. Some of them you just kind of, it's like throwing, what's the saying? My wife kills me because I mess up the sayings all the time, just like Ricky on Trailer Park Boy. I was going to say throwing mud at the wall. Maybe that's not it. All blockchains are great when no one is using them. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of when it's put to test and something happens, right? Haddo says he thought this was the soul killer. One DC says hard to scale and lead the industry if the only determining value is price and volume. I mean, if the chain can stay online and available as long as it's tradable on exchange, right? Yeah. Yeah. No. See, that's what half the people in crypto don't even know about on chain. Don't even know about the chain going down. They just buy it on the exchange. They're not worried about the actual underlying utility technology underneath each coin. It's just whether coin go up, coin go down, right? More than 3 hours without validating any new transactions. SUI network core team started investigating 30 minutes after it happened and identified the issue after another 30 minutes. We can see high activity on the GitHub, and the SUI network is still down. This was 2 hours ago. Peter says only EGLD works perfectly. Okay, and then Vinny says, nope, Multiverse X experienced a major outage without producing any blocks for hours, determining if the $1 trillion USDC bug exploit that the team successfully prevented from spreading caused any further damage. Wow. Sui's been down several hours. Just looking through the comments. Okay, name one chain that's never experienced anything like that. Let's see. Quali Network. Who else is replying? Near has zero downtime, says Nikhil. Millions. You need to get millions of Near. I see Near popping up here and there and everywhere. They did get that early Ripple X Spring grant to work on their Near intents. What else was going on? Let's look at crypto panic. Backstock surges 20% after move on stablecoins payment strategy. Wow, you got a stock pumping 20% because they chose to do something with stablecoins. Let's check out this article. Max says planning to launch a project on Solana. Cool. Keep us in the loop, Max FOMO. Yeah, definitely. Backstock. Although from what I'm hearing, maybe you should think about launching it on a few different chains and try to interoperate. I hear a lot of people are doing good with that, but you got to worry about fragmented liquidity, how that works out. I don't know. Backstock surges 20% on stablecoin move strategy. Let's
Hi there, connector.
Hey, can you summarize this page?
Absolutely. So what you're looking at is basically a news piece about Bakkt Holdings. They're making a strategic move by acquiring a firm called Distributed Technologies Research, which is all about stablecoins and fiat payment infrastructure. The big headline is that Bakkt stock just jumped up by 20% because of this move. So it's kind of a big deal in the crypto and fintech world right now. Does that make sense?
So you got another company for stable coins. So yeah, there's these guys, these banks, especially the banks, they don't want to do their swaps directly on chain on the back end. They want to pre-fund another company to do those swaps. They're separating everything for redundancy, for safetiness, to fall back. If this company can't do it, they'll go to this company instead of doing it themselves. So yeah, it looks like we've got pre-funded accounts still. We've got fees still that are going to be involved in all this stuff because they're not willing to do it themselves on chain like we are, right? Speaking of Solana, we've got Obit adds Phantom support, bringing Solana payments to the Visa network. We've got critical tokenization infrastructure provider Alpaca raises 150 million Series D. Lots of private funding out there. Would love to find a good way to get private equity, but you got to be a accredited investor still, right? So why did we get away from all that push? It used to be a big push to stop this accredited investing. You know, they'll let us go buy scratch-offs at the store and waste our money, but yet we're not allowed to waste our money on private investing. Because we're too dumb for that, right? They want to protect us. Anybody that says they want to protect you guys, that's not really what they're doing. Or if they say, we just want to make sure you're safe, that's not really what they're doing. They want to exert control. They want to use that. All right, I don't know why my screen just flipped like that, but we'll roll with it. What else do we have? Avalanche is betting on payments and rewards, not social media. Lizard says, doesn't third-party payments create a new industry? Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, why create in an industry? You know, I mean, jobs are good, of course. But if you don't need them. Shout out to Canyon the Copilot says, Silver Days. Let's just make sure we didn't miss any more. Polymarket trader loses 2.4 million. You got to watch out. I was covering Polymarket earlier, but guys, there's no laws or anything, no rules about insider information with all that yet. So you could have a political outcome, and you can have somebody within an government, within the administration, that knows what's going to happen, that can just put all their money and just take the money and run. If they know exactly what's going to happen, of course they're going to bet for that. There's a lot to still get worked out. We need AI in there in government. You know, reduce the size and let AI handle a lot of that stuff. Visa and BVNK align for stablecoin payment expansion. I bet this is another company that's doing stablecoin swaps on the back end. Partnered with BVNK. Visa has partnered with BVNK to integrate stablecoin payments into its Visa Direct network. See what? Yeah. So totally creating a new industry from these stablecoin third parties. So why does Visa need BVNK to integrate stablecoins into their own network? It's wild. Aiming to enhance payment options across select markets, as reported by CoinDesk. It signifies a pivotal move towards mainstream stablecoin adoption, reducing payment friction, and expanding transaction accessibility globally, especially during non-banking hours. So Visa's scared to automate stablecoin swaps during non-banking hours. BVNK and Visa forge stablecoin payment pathway. Integrate stablecoin capabilities into Visa Direct, allowing businesses in select markets to pre-fund payments. There you go. You were still pre-funding payments. See, that's why they need UBYX and BVNK, because they're the middlemen that pre-fund, that hold these pre-funded accounts, that allows them to do these stablecoin swaps. So they've got redundancies. They can fall back on the pre-funding if something happens to the stablecoin swap. It's pretty interesting to know how this stuff is going to work on the back end. And it's still like, okay, so you've got all these institutions that are trying to get involved in this stuff. And it's like, if we can just have really like decentralized recovery, it is going to be everything, because then we won't even need any of this. We won't even need a bank, guys. This is just them grasping at straws, trying to stay relevant, if you ask me. Imagine us having decentralized recovery, the DREC Alliance, and having our coins, living on Web 5, where it's trusted that no one can access your account without, say, like 4 or 5 factor authentication, fingerprint, eye retina, scan palm scan, whatever it takes. That's just ways to encrypt, as long as we're in charge of it. Market response have been generally positive. Stablecoin integration signals shift in global payments. Did you know stablecoins have rapidly gained traction? Yes, we did. Okay. It's just interesting. I'm just curious of how the banks are going to, and Visa is going to let this stuff work on the back end. Because the way they're making it look, it's like they're not using these chains directly. And who is, though? These back-end third-party providers like UBYX and BVNK here, they're the ones who actually use the chains. He'll go out and swap out the unwanted stablecoin for this bank stablecoin or that bank stablecoin. Lizard says, doesn't third-party... Yeah, okay, I got that one. Like using a condom, all the fun and none of the risk. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what the banks are doing. They don't want to take that risk. And on top of that, for all the crypto that they hold, like to pay gas with or whatever, if they want to get on chain, they've got to back those tokens 1,250% capital backing the XRP or Bitcoin or whatever they buy. 1,250% for every $1 worth of crypto. And that's $1 worth of crypto. Right? That's not the actual crypto. So that means they have to take a snapshot of the price several times a day. This whole legacy system is they're just trying to stay relevant. They're making all this new extra work by trying to use these own chains and all these new businesses, BVNK. Well, that's wild. Yeah, they're taking none of the risk by hiring BVNK and pre-funding accounts still with BVNK. What's up, GDLT? You the man? You guys make sure you check out GDLT. XRP on YouTube. He has a couple good streams a day. All right, let's get to our X bookmarks. What did I have for today? Black Swan Capitalist, SEC Chairman. We played this at the beginning. It says tokenization of all assets and markets is coming faster than most realize. The new Bretton Woods reset is approaching, and XRP will be the backbone for settlement. The window of opportunity to position yourself is closing fast. Make sure you guys follow Black Swan. Okay, Constellation, DAG. Let's catch up on that. DAG knows how to fix this government Starlink. What are they doing? They're blocking the Starlink. So first of all, let's read this. Exclusive from Starlink terminal debug data from Iran during the ongoing internet shutdown. The telemetry shows direct evidence of GPS spoofing. The dish detected 18 GPS satellites with valid signal light, but activating its anti-spoofing countermeasures. This isn't a simple jamming. The government appears to be broadcasting fake GPS signals to confuse the Starlink terminals. So around 20% plus sustained packet losses. Connection never stabilized after 20 minutes. Bandwidth restricted. So you've got the government of Iran blocking the internet connection. So what fixes this? Constellation, DAG. Constellation comes in. GPS spoofing is something blockchain can be used to defend against. We have already demonstrated this with the Department of War, U.S. Transcom, and Civil Reserve Air Fleet. This specific activation use case will be in a United Nations report on March the 3rd. Elon will be happy to demonstrate how can we secure Starlink terminals. Wow. Constellation DAG has a use case, one of the best use cases right here to clean up and get these reliable connections to the Starlink from the satellites to the terminals without the GPS spoofing confusing it. DAG has so many real-world applications, guys. GPS spoofing defense via blockchain is exactly what infrastructure-level security that makes DAG the backbone for critical systems like aviation and satellite networks. Silver Days likes DAGs. Timber. Green Giants unite. Max says a DEX would be the easiest way to move from one stablecoin to another, but requires liquidity providers. Exactly. Yep. But no, that's what the banks want to do is they want to hold pre-funded accounts and send it to UBYX or GBDV, whatever that one was, to handle that stablecoin swap. GDLT says XPL plasma stablecoin infrastructure. Is that another one? And it has a ticker. Okay. I can't help but think these banks are wasting their time to stay relevant. They're just fighting and kicking, and it's not meshing up what this blockchain stuff actually does. Marty Party's got some news on the FTX official estate now operating through the FTX Recovery Trust. The fourth distribution to eligible creditors and claim holders is expected to commence on March the 31st. This continues to widen down the process. So I guess it's the fourth distribution for FTX holders. And the estate is also seeking court approval to reduce the claims. So that, just remember that, not your keys, not your crypto. You will be a creditor in a bankruptcy case if your exchange goes down. And we saw where Trump denied Sam Bankman-Fried a pardon. So maybe maybe that's to get him to talk more about what happened to some of those funds. Jack the Rippler's got the largest stock exchange in Germany, says XRP will be the backbone of the new financial system. He also says XRP could hit $7 to $9 pretty soon. That coincides with that $8 call we heard earlier.
Ripple hat jetzt in UK die Lizenz bekommen, elektronische Geldlizenz. Was ein wirklich großer Schritt ist, und Ripple besitzt mittlerweile über 60 weltweite Zahlungs- und Finanzdienstleistungslizenzen, und damit ist klar, in welche Richtung das geht. Ripple Labs.
All right, I know you guys can't understand that. Let me see if I can help you read. Electronic money license, in which really big step, and Ripple now holds over 60 worldwide payments and financial service licenses, so it's clear which direction things are heading. Ripple Labs aims to revolutionize and renew the classic financial system in the backbone, not the micro pin, but in the backbone based on blockchain technology. That's why the XRP ledger and the XRP coin is essentially means the payment can be transported on the XRP ledger. Ecosystem will certainly prevail. Emission, after all, the crypto scene and all the perspective, and we certainly will push it to the limit in this bull run. All right, Germany, that's always good to see those guys bullish on XRP. I haven't really been keeping up with the Clarity Act. We've got a recap from Eleanor Terry. Quick recap here. Crypto market structure legislation requires action from 2 Senate committees: banking, which oversees the SEC and securities, and agriculture, which oversees the CFTC and commodities. Because of their separate jurisdictions, each committee drafts its own bill and text and marks it up independently. Once both committees finish, the texts are merged and the full Senate votes on the combined legislation. Senate AG's markup is one of that has been pushed to the end of the month. The Senate banking one is tomorrow. So that's probably today, Senate banking, tomorrow, Thursday, and then the AG markup. So it's got to get out of both of those committees. The same procedure occurred last summer in the House, with the AG and the House Services following a similar process. But they're going to send it back to the House. So, yeah, we're still waiting on them to get all of that done. We saw SUI went down on the main net. Yesterday, Ellie said after scrambling to meet the 5 p.m. deadline, senators on the banking committee submitted 137 amendments to last night's text. According to multiple sources who have seen the list, some of these will be debated during tomorrow's markup. 137 amendments. Watch this stuff have, you know how they like to put earmarks in there. Watch this crypto bill. Watch them throw something in there like something to do with healthcare or something like that. You know how they do. I think the the student loan bill was in the Defense Act, something like that. They always throw in some crazy stuff to get this stuff to pass, because you got to help out these people. You got to help out this Senate, this lobbying group. It's all a mess. We've got JP Morgan CEO says stablecoins that pay interest are obviously dangerous and undesirable. Banking CFO says stablecoins that pay interest are obviously dangerous and undesirable. Translation: dangerous to the business banking model. Exactly. And Vincent Van Code says yes, absolutely. Stablecoin interest threatens the banking system. Honestly, have you guys? Yeah, of course it does. When you're paying us what 0.02% on our deposits. Honestly, have you guys really thought about how that would what would happen to your economy if banks failed? Much of your tax money would go to bailing them out. Wow, that's scary. How many? We've seen that before. How many loans will fall apart? How many businesses will fall apart? How many jobs will be lost? Get mature. Stop thinking crypto will replace banks. Banks do much more than just hold money. Crypto will never replace it, and crypto must learn to coexist and integrate with them. Any other mode of operation is unacceptable. Anyone who works with TradeFi would know this. Only young buck cryptos don't get it. Yeah, it's going to replace those big liquidity banks. Basically, those big, the ones who make all the fees off of transferring this stuff, We've got Anchorage Digital adding XDC, enabling secure custody for XDC clients. We saw a good, if you guys want to see it on X Spaces on X, Metallicus, or on my YouTube page, I covered the talk with Metallicus and the Alabama congressman. And yeah, so Marshall wrote the beginnings of the Clarity Act, right? Yeah, he wrote the first cryptocurrency legislation. What was it, 2018, 2019? No, it might have been 2020 he started working on that. And, that's kind of what's evolved into today's, he worked with the banking lobby and got that pushed out. But that's kind of what started off the Clarity Act. That was the beginning. So Marshall is the beginnings for that stuff, guys. And right here, he's hinting at maybe Trump will put him on the advisory team. Retweet if you want to see me, Marshall Hayner, nominated to the real Donald Trump crypto advisory team. So here's Marshall's policies. Remove capital gains taxes from crypto transactions. Enact a federal bill to protect self-custody. Yeah, guys, we need to codify a lot of this stuff. Stop the weaponization of the SEC against crypto. Clear and straightforward regulatory guidelines. National Science Foundation grants for crypto innovation. Make America the crypto hub of the world through tax and regulatory incentives. Sound policy around our national Bitcoin reserve. Allow banks to custody crypto. Issue stablecoins. Run nodes. Put all future national ballots on chain for real-time election analysis. That means a lot there. With decentralized identity. Yeah, decentralized identity. Make it optional. He was talking on that X space about how KYC, all that is optional with Metallicas. You know, you don't have to use it unless you get into the system. Bring government spending on chain so that the public can analyze and scrutinize it. U.S. DAO, DAO, where regular people can make proposals that can filter up to the highest levels of government. That's a big one there. Why can't we propose? That's what the whole Doge thing is on the XPR network, where citizens can propose legislations, and it costs 1 Dogecoin per proposal. So there's your Doge use case right there. Mint physical United States Bitcoins that can be redeemed for full Bitcoin through our central bank, direct to your bank for crypto wallet. That's interesting. Mint physical Bitcoins, like coins, physical coins. And you can redeem them. That's wild. Maybe if it was made from gold and you just cross-reference the exchange rate from gold to Bitcoin or silver, that would work. These bullet points only begin to scratch the surface of his full vision. Cool, cool. Marshall's got the vision, guys. And, you know, I've seen a lot of XRP holders that are kind of finally trying to, you know, accept this stuff, XPR, that it's not just hanging on the coattails of it. You know, they're really good, 2 really good systems, and there's no sense in being tribal about it. We support all these good freedom coins. American cryptos, Metallicas, Ripple, Stellar, they're all in San Francisco, guys. They're right beside each other. You know, this stuff is coming. Let's go crypto. Guys, I enjoyed it. Had a good stream today. Who was in the chat? Lizard King, Silver Days, Conflict, GDLT1, Max FOMO. Good to see you guys as always. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Mr. Connector out.